You can go ahead. Can you do the go live thing?
I did it. Yeah.
Are we live?
It's recording now. Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you for that. Let me fix this. All right. Thank you, Katie, for doing that. I appreciate you.
No problem.
All righty. Well, let's go ahead and get started since we had a little bit of a technical snafu. So welcome everyone to our webinar here in August, at the end of August. And we are fastly approaching the fall weather here in Northern California. We wanted to talk to you today about people power. And people power is one of the most important integral parts of your business. My name's Wendy Roberts, and I'm the CEO of North Star Strategic Partners. So let me tell you a little bit about me. I'm a startup CFO. I've actually had the opportunity and the pleasure to be a CFO for a software startup that we sold to a publicly traded company. I've also been a CFO for various different industries, and some of those were blockchain, some of those were entertainment companies, but my experience as a CFO has come across many types of industries. I'm also a former corporate finance executive. I was in the corporate world for almost 2 decades. And then I also had a career, early part of my career, in public accounting, where I worked for some of the larger firms, then had my own CPA practice in Florida. I love doing this kind of information sharing. It's super important to me because business owners face a lot of challenges that you don't face if you're an employee. So I love doing this. I love being a speaker. If you ever want to have me on a podcast or public speaking, more than happy to do that. And I am also a published author. So I actually published a book called The Only Business Compass You Will Ever Need. That is out on Amazon. So if you feel compelled to go out and take a little bit of a read of the book, we go in a lot more depth than what we do here on these workshops. But I encourage you to take a look and see if that might be of interest to you. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. There's my LinkedIn connection, and I'll be more than happy to talk to you through LinkedIn or any other, or you can reach out to through our website. So what to expect today? The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go over our 4 points of focus. It's a methodology that I actually thought about back in 2017, late 2017. And I started formulating that process and the methodology of what makes not just a good company, but a great company, something that's profitable, sustainable, and if you choose, you can scale it and eventually sell it. So those 4 points of focus are the key elements to create that kind of company that you're looking for. Then we're going to go over practical strategies and tools. And then if there's any questions, I will be more than happy to answer them. So the point of today's discussion is how to construct a team that will drive success for your organization. So it's very, very important that we understand what are these 4 key elements I just talked about. When you think about these 4 key elements, I want you to think about it in a holistic way, one in which we build the organization around these 4 key elements so that you then can drive success that you're looking for. So let's talk about them in a little bit more depth, and then we're going to get into a lot more depth in the point number 4. So the first one of the 4 points of focus is called marketing strategies. It's that red or the bullseye, the target. Who's your targeted customer? How do you talk to that customer? What methods do you use in your marketing and sales strategy to attract that customer to you so that they will want to do business with you? And then how do you turn that connection into an actual sale that drives revenue? So that's point number one, the red for marketing strategies. That then flows into our second point of focus, which is the green, meaning money. It's called financial structure and growth. So when you think about financial structure, do you have the right entity, tax entity, the right structure to be able to build the success that you are looking for? A second area is, do you have the right cash flow strategy? Do you understand where your cash goes? Do you understand how to structure it so that you're not overspending when you don't need to? Those are super important to understand. So that's why we call it the green for money. And our point number two. So far we've talked about point one, marketing strategies, that drives point two, financial structure and growth, which is your cash, that then drives into our third point of focus called operational excellence. That's the orange. If you notice here, it's a little gear. So, how does your company operate from an operational standpoint? Have you optimized all of your computer application programs? Have you documented all of your procedures and your processes so that when someone comes into your company, they're not floundering? They know exactly what to do. So that's our third point, operational excellence, which is the orange. Operational excellence then flows into our fourth point, people and team building. That's the blue for trust, that interconnectivity. Do you have the right people in the right seats? And are they an engaged team? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Point number four, constructing a team that will drive success. So very important. This is a very holistic approach. That team building and success then drives into marketing. So the more satisfied your team is, the more they're going to want to be able to service your customers appropriately. So it's a fluid look about back and forth between these 4 points of focus. So let's talk a little bit about what are the key elements of a great team. Why do you want to create a great team? For one, it will help shape your success as a company. The more engaged your team, the more likely you are be able to garner that success that you're looking for. And in the world of AI, we still need humans, at least for now, to be able to do some of the functions within a company. So we want to have positive relationships. They're so vital to your organization. Think about a time when either you had an employee, or maybe you worked in the corporate world or for another small business, and there was that one employee that always brought negativity to the job, to the workplace. Do you want that kind of person in your company? I think not. So, positive relationships are so vital to the success of your business. The second element of a good team that drives success is a comfortable, collaborative environment that generates innovative solutions. It's impossible for one person to come up with every single idea that's going to be a great idea for your company. When you encourage employees to innovate, you might discover a completely new business model or product or service that you didn't think about. that could drive millions of revenue for you and your business. So innovation is so very important, and it should not be just with one person. It should be with every individual in your company. And when you create an environment that's collaborative and that's comfortable, people will stay with you. You hire great people and they will stay with you because they like the environment. They feel welcomed. People want to feel part of something. So when you build a positive environment with positive relationships that encourages innovation, you create an environment that people want to stay and work in. Think about a previous job or company that you work for. Think about that environment. Was it positive or was it negative? If it was positive, think about how you felt in that environment. You were engaged. You wanted to do more. You wanted to succeed. You felt you were part of a team. But think about that company if you had experienced a negative work environment. You probably couldn't wait to get out of there. So I ask you this as a business owner, which environment do you want? A positive work environment or a negative one? I don't think it's that too hard to answer that question. I know what I want. I know what I achieved to build in our company. I want a positive environment. So when you think about it and how you want to shape your teams, building a positive environment can go a long way. Now, let's talk about the 5 questions. Think about this positive environment and how you want to build it. I want to go over 5 questions that I think would be helpful in you asking yourself as a business owner, do I have this? If not, what can I do to achieve it? The first one is, do your employees feel comfortable speaking up and sharing their ideas? Going back to that idea of innovation with a positive environment. If they do, again, you're probably going to garner some opportunities that you never even thought about. Encouraging them to speak up and share ideas, again, creates that teamwork, that environment that everyone wants to be part of. Think about your most exciting sports team. Maybe it's a football team, maybe it's a soccer team, maybe it's a basketball team, whatever the case may be. But think about that sports team. And if they're winning, there's a positive. If they're not winning, it's not so positive. But think about it in the sense of if you build an environment that people, employees feel comfortable speaking up and sharing their ideas, it's going to garner you more opportunities that you didn't think about. So the second question to think about for yourself as a business owner, do your employees feel respected? Do they feel valued by their coworkers and by their managers? Do they feel valued? And we're going to talk about tone at the top and corporate culture in a little bit, but this is a direct relationship to tone at the top. How you react and propose a positive environment, people will feel respected and valued by their coworkers and by their managers. The third question to ask is, do employees feel they can trust their colleagues and managers? And I want to emphasize the word here, trust, because trust is so valuable. You have to have trust in every relationship that you're involved with. You have to have trust with your partner or your spouse. You have to have trust with your coworkers that you can share information and feel comfortable that you're not going to be badgered or made fun of. You need relationships and trust if you are talking to customers, because if they don't trust you, they're not going to buy from you. You need trust with your suppliers. Are they going to deliver on time when they say they are? So trust is so very important. And I ask this of you as a business owner. Do your employees feel that they are trusted? The fourth question is, do employees feel like they are part of a team? Earlier in my comments, I talked about sports teams. Everyone wants to feel like they belong. People follow leaders for a reason because they want to feel they're part of a team, that they're part of something. We are creatures of habit as humans. We also are pretty much, for the stamp, very social. It's very few of us that want to just be alone in some remote location. Very, very rare. We want to feel part of something. We want that human connection. And when you feel like you're part of a team, that means everything to you. And again, that will help you retain top talent. And the fifth question is really more about our well-being and how we manage our work-life balance. Do your employees feel like they're able to balance work and their personal lives? Very, very key. We don't want our employees burned out. We want them to be more productive. We want them to feel that they are an important part of the team and that they are contributing, and that they have a personal life in addition to a work life where they can identify with the team at work. So these 5 questions, I want you to really think about that as a business owner. And if you answered all of these as positive or yes, then you're in great shape. If you haven't, then I feel like you have some work to do. And I believe even in my own company, I continually to improve the working relationships and the working environment in our company. It's very, very important to me that we have that working atmosphere. So now let's switch a little bit to, you've got a positive environment. You've accomplished those 5 questions. Now we want to talk about, what are the top 10 traits of a high-performing team? And I can say this to you as a business owner myself. The better your team is at performing things at a high level, the easier it is for you to manage your business. It's that simple. So let's talk about what those top 10 traits are. The first is clear and aligned purpose. Are they aware of your overall mission of the business? Are they aware of your vision? Where do you want to take the company? Are they aware of the purpose that you have with your business? That's so very important to be able to. You need to know your mission. You need to know your values. How do you operate? You need to know how you want to create that environment. So a clear and aligned purpose. So very important. The second, and this also really goes back to what we talked about in the third point of focus, and that is operational excellence. Clear roles and responsibilities. Does everyone know what they're supposed to do? Do they have a job description? Or maybe they have a process documentation. Again, operational excellence, that they know what's asked of them. Do they know their clear roles and responsibilities in the organization? If they don't know that, you're going to have inefficiency. You're going to have low to mediocre productivity. But if they know what they're supposed to do, they can do it at a high level. And that's one of the important key things here of you as a business owner. and to make your life easier running a business. The third is trust and mutual respect. And we go back to this trust comment again that I made earlier. You have to have trust in your relationships. And in this case, we're talking about trust in the workplace and mutual respect. So, that's one of my high key things as a business manager, a business owner. I want to treat my staff and the employees I work with the utmost respect, and I ask for it back. It's mutual. It's two-way. It's not one way. It's two-way. So trust is the third trait. The fourth trait is so very important. Open and clear communications. Open and clear communications. Are you comfortable in talking and sharing information? Being very clear, honest about how you feel, how you're interacting with others. So very important. The next one is collaboration and teamwork. And I'm going to stress teamwork because without a team, you really don't have a successful company, or you're going to struggle incredibly if you don't have a high performing team and have teamwork. And then the next one is problem solving and creativity. And this goes back to encouraging your team to come up with ideas. What are things that you may not think about, but yet could dramatically impact the success of your business? So problem solving and creativity. One thing I encourage everyone to do in an organization, no matter if you're the CEO or if you are staff or whatever your particular role is in a company, is to engage in continuous learning and improvement. That's an incredibly important trait for a high performing team. Investing in their future. It's super important because they're going to respect that. You're going to get the benefits of continued learning and innovation and improvement because they're going to be more and more likely to perform higher and higher in their particular job or function. The next one is adaptability and flexibility. So being able to adapt. And if you own a small business or have owned a small business, you know that small business is way more adaptable than public traded companies. It's just the way it is. So being adaptable within the company, being able to pivot where you need to, is a key important trait for a high performing team. Because if you're stuck in the way you do it and it's outdated or antiquated, you're going to suffer the consequences for not adapting. One case in point, failure to adapt to AI and AI tools such as ChatGPT or Gemini or Copilot with Microsoft. That's going to put you in an unfair disadvantage. And I use the word unfair because it's easy enough to learn the tools. So this goes back to continuous learning, creating an adaptability and flexibility environment so your teams can pivot when they need to. The next is leadership and motivation. Encourage them, your employees, and the people that work with you to take on leadership roles. This will help motivate them in performing the way they need to. And then the last one, I think, is probably one of the most important, and that is holding your team accountable. The accountability factor. When they know the roles and the responsibilities, when they know the vision and your mission, when they have continuous learning, you then hold them accountable to perform at a high level. It's that simple. So those are the 10 key traits of a high performing team. As I went through that list, if you're not performing at a high level at any one of those 10, you probably have some work to do, and I'd be more than happy to talk to you about what you can do. So, very important. So, let's talk about how do we engage a team so that they are high performers? So we do achieve those 10 traits that we're looking for. The first one, which we've talked about already, is teamwork, team building. Having team meetings incorporates everyone into the process. You're talking to your team on a high level. You're setting expectations. And when you see things being done the way you want them done and at a high level, call it out in a team meeting. However, the reverse is if you see an employee or staff member who's not performing at the level that you would like, then take them aside. Don't do this publicly. Take them aside, maybe take a private walk with them, take them out to lunch, take them into your office, whatever the case may be. But talk to them privately and do it in such a way that you show that mutual respect. But point out the things that you would like to see them do in order for them to be at that high performing level that you expect. So hold regular team meetings. Very, very important. Create a company intranet or collaboration platform. There's several of them out there. We have Teams, we have group chat, etc., etc. So those are things that you can keep people engaged, and also it's the ability for them to get more as a team member, get them more engaged and more efficient and productive if they're able to chat back and forth with each other. And this kind of goes to the next point: use email and instant messaging. And then, when you can, encourage face to face communication. That's so very important. And if it needs to be on Zoom, that's fine too, because we're now in the world of Zoom. And again, going back to one of the top 10 traits of a high performing team, the ability to adapt and be flexible. So sometimes it's not always easy to have face to face. You can do it like we're doing here with on camera and be able to still pick up those nuances in body language, etc. So when we have this 10 traits and we've looked at the 5 questions that I've asked you previously, when we power success through our workplace, we want to drive our company culture. What is your company culture? And if you don't have a positive environment, it's going to take some time, but I highly encourage that you look into that, creating a positive environment for your company. I look at my own company and I strive to have that positive work environment so that all of the team members, the new ones that come on and the ones that have been working for me for many years, that they feel like they're part of something. They're part of a team. They're part of something bigger than themselves. That's super important. And creating that culture, and it comes from you, the CEO, the business owner. You create that tone at the top, you will have a highly functioning team, very engaged team. And then there's also personality traits that we have to take into account. And on the next slide, we're going to talk about one of those tools that you can use to understand the personality of your team. And I also say this, that you don't want everyone on your team, including the people that report to you. If you're the CEO and you've got a C-suite, like a chief marketing officer or chief people officer, whatever the case may be, you don't want them to be like you. I highly encourage that you hire people that are not like you so that you can have diversity, so that you can have different ideas, different innovation, different challenges that can be accomplished, because you can't think of everything. You have one personality trait, or you might have a couple, but you're not everything. So it's important for you to hire people from different personality types. And then a third thing is think about the way your company is structured. So there's different types of hierarchies, right? There's a flat hierarchy where it's pretty, everyone reports directly to the CEO. It's more flat. There is the tiered hierarchy. If you think of a triangle shape, and you have a lot of this in large corporations or medium to size corporations or above, where there's the CEO and, like I mentioned, the C-suite, and then there's perhaps directors or managers under those and the staff. That's kind of the tiered or the traditional hierarchy. And then you might have a team-based structure where you have certain teams where you might be here and you've got team A, team B, team C. They report to one manager that reports up to you. So there's different ways to structure your business depending on what industry, what makes sense for you. And all of that taking into account the top 10 traits of what makes a really great team, and taking into account the 5 questions that we went over. So when you build your company structure, you then can think about what I want to accomplish, what's my mission, what's my vision, and what kind of company culture do I want to have, and how do I want to structure it so that I have the maximum communication, the greatest opportunity for people to succeed. So let's talk about a personality traits that I just mentioned on the previous slide. Now there's several different ones. There's Myers-Briggs, there's the DISC that I'm going to talk about here. There's, several, the Enneagram, there's several out there. But I think this one is probably the easiest. It's called the DISC profile. And if you notice, it's 4 quadrants. One is the D for dominance, if you will. Then there's the I, which is the green, for influence. Then you've got the S for steadiness. And then you've got the C for compliance. So there's several tests out there. Some of them are free, some are nominal amount. But if you want to have some fun with your staff, especially the people that report to you, I highly recommend that all of you take this test and discover what you are. So these are just here on the right-hand side, depending on how you test out. If you test very high on the D, if you're a high D, that you're driven, you're ambitious, you're strong-willed, you're probably a high D. If you are a high I, you're outgoing. So you're enthusiastic, you're warm, persuasive. That's a high I. If you're a high F, you're steady, you're loyal, you're relaxed, you're modest. And if you're a high C, you're detailed oriented, you're cautious, prepared. I will tell you that many CEOs, many people who run companies are high Ds. If you're in sales, you're probably a high I. If you are a teacher, think of a teacher to take care of, a nurse, practitioner, a doctor, you're probably a high S. And if you're in accounting, if you're an engineer, if you're a lawyer, you're probably a high C. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I've been in public accounting. I have an accounting degree. I've been in the accounting world for many, many years. But I happen to be a high D and a high I, which totally blew me away when I took the test. And I've taken it several times. Not that I'm not a good accountant. I'm an excellent accountant, but I'm a high D. That's my highest element. And then the next one is an I. And I think throughout your career, you can be a different level depending on where you are. Right now, I'm the CEO and founder of North Star Strategic Partners. So it makes sense for me to be a D for driven, ambitious, strong-willed, right? And a high I because I need to be doing sales and business development. That makes sense. So I suggest that you do this as a way to find out who are the people that work for you. And if you're thinking about a new hire and it's a high level, even if it's a staff position, you may want to do this, but especially if it's a high level position, have that person take the DISC profile so that you know how they fit in with the rest of the organization. So when you create this environment of a positive outcomings and meetings and corporate company culture, etc., you are in an environment that will compel you and excel you to business success. Because when we concentrate on those top 10 traits, when we concentrate on those 5 questions I went over, when we create that tone at the top, that corporate culture, you're going to get a ripple effect. You're going to have positive success with your team. And remember, it takes a village to raise a child, whether that's a human child or a business. It takes a village. So if you have a highly engaged team, you'll have the ripple effects that you're looking for. And those benefits are that increased productivity, the improved morale with low turnover. It's very expensive to hire people. It's really hard to find good people. And when you find them, you want to hang on to them. It helps foster innovation. We've talked about this already in this workshop. It's so very important to encourage innovation because you can't think of everything. And last, you have the greater ability to retain your top talent. People want great employees and they will try to steal them from you. But if they feel like they're part of the team, that they're contributing, that they are accomplishing something that's bigger than themselves, they will stay with your company, regardless if it's a better offer somewhere else. So, in conclusion, think about where you are with your company. Do you have some gaps that you need to fill to build that great team? Remember the 4 points of focus. That fourth point, the trust, the blue, people and team building. It's so very important because it drives everything else in your business. It drives your customer satisfaction. It drives your success in operations. And it certainly drives your success in financial. Because the more successful you are, the more money you're going to make. If you have a high-performing team, your company is going to be successful and you will make more money. And you can also share those profits with those hard-earned dollars by your staff. So share those dollars, share the profit sharing with your employees that are making you successful. So if you liked what you heard today, there's the only business compass you ever need. Here's the QR code. We go into a lot more depth than what I talked about today. You can find it on Amazon. If you are curious, I encourage you to buy the book and learn more about the 4 points of focus and what we talked about today. If you have gaps in your business that you don't know how to address or that you need help with, talk to me. I give a free 30-minute consult. More than happy to talk to you about what you need to do. And then last, if you like what you heard today, reach out to us through the website or to me directly on LinkedIn, and we can talk about what our services are like and how we can help you build your company. So just a bit of a recap of our services. Strategic coaching and advising. We use our 4-point system. It is customized to you. We build a lot of data analytics for customers. We make that part of our core. That's probably what stands us out from many other coaching and consulting firms, is that we have a dedicated internal team that does a lot of the business analytics and data analytics that are required by your business to run a very successful business today. We'll take a little look at your operational processes and see how you can improve them. That's the 3rd point of focus. We'll look at your cash management system. Are you generating the cash you need to be able to grow your business? That's the 2nd point of focus, financial structure and growth. I offer on-demand CFO services. As I mentioned, I've been a CFO for several different organizations. More than happy to be able to do that as a fractional CFO for you. And then we can create KPIs, which are key performance indicators, key ratios Again, leveraging that data and business analytics that we generate internally for our customers, which are all customized. And last, if you are thinking about exiting your business, or if you're not thinking about exiting your business, but you want to know what your business is worth, we have the ability to give you that information as well. So I want to thank you today. I know we were running up past our time limit, so I won't take any questions today. But if you feel like connecting with me, here's the phone number. You can call me at this number. You can reach out to info@northstar-sp.com. And here is our website, northstar-sp.com. Be more than happy to talk to you about anything that you may be challenged with right now in your business. We've had great success with the companies we've worked with, and I would love to be able to share that success with you. With that, thank you. I appreciate the time that you spent watching this webinar, this workshop. So I hope you have a lovely day. Thank you.
All right. Great. Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Have a great day, everyone.
All right. Bye-bye.